and drinks. For more information, visit veraaquaveravita.org.
Are you a small company needing IT help? Is your computer running slow? Do you need help securing your network? Do you want the peace of mind knowing your computers are running optimally and securely? I'm Charles Gura, a parishioner at St. Catherine of Siena Parish in Kelton, and a sponsor of KATH 910 AM. We can be reached at 214-702-6996 or online at pro-multis.com, pro-multis.com. We use our talents to help with your technology, so you can use your talents to run your business.
Holy Trinity Catholic School in Grapevine invites all KATH 910 AM listeners to its 25th annual gala on Saturday, April 30th at the Hearst Conference Center. The gala is the largest fundraiser for Holy Trinity Catholic School, and funds raised will support the school's operating budget and programs such as curriculum, athletic programs, facilities, and faculty. Come enjoy good food, a live and silent auction, and entertainment. Sponsorships are needed. To purchase tickets and for more information, visit holytcs.org.
Hi, this is Walter Crawford with Homeschool Connections, a proud sponsor of the Guadalupe Radio Network. I'm inviting you to save the date for this year's The Catholic Homeschool Conference. It is virtual, so you can attend from the comfort of your own home or from an in-person watch party in your local community. It's Friday, June 10th and Saturday, June 11th. Our theme this year is empowering you to homeschool joyfully. More details to come as we approach the date. May God continue to bless your homeschool journey.
Hey Dallas, join Bishop Edward Burns on April 30th at the Renaissance Hotel in Addison for the 29th Annual Bishop's Pro-Life Dinner, benefiting the Catholic pro-life community, the Respect Life Ministry of the Diocese of Dallas. Hear a pro-life message from Archbishop Joseph Nauman, a personal testimony from Dave Moore, and special musical guest Jamie Teton. Join us to celebrate and support the efforts in our diocese to save babies, walk with moms in need, heal hearts, and proclaim the gospel of life. Reserve your spot now at prolifedallas.org.
Are you looking for a tax preparer this year to help you with your personal or business tax filing or management? At Balance Book LLC, they can assist with business and personal tax returns, accounting services, sales tax, payroll, business formations, and more. They can be reached by calling 972-805-5095. Or you can visit them at 4425 West Airport Freeway, Suite 122, Irving, Texas 75062. Balance Book LLC, a new sponsor of the GRN and members of Holy Spirit Catholic Church in Duncanville.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the KTH 910 AM game show. Our contestant today is Sissel Anderson. Are you ready, Sissel?
Yes.
What is the name of the annual KTH fundraising event?
Oh, the Summer Speaker Series.
When is this year's event?
Thursday, July 21st.
Where will it be?
The Frontiers of Flight Museum in Dallas.
Last question and your chance to remain perfect. Are tickets on sale yet?
Yes. No? But they will be soon at summerspeakerseries.com.
Congratulations! And we have an outstanding speaker, Bishop Joseph Strickland.
St. Joseph is the patron saint of home and family. At My Mutual Mortgage of Grapevine, we support the Guadalupe Radio Network's mission of honoring and supporting home and family as longtime sponsors of KATH 910 AM. We're Bob and Norma Duane, owners of My Mutual Mortgage of Grapevine. We'd be honored to speak with you about all your mortgage needs. We can be reached at 817-527-3166. That's 817-527-3166. We're an equal housing lender, NMLS 265303.
Hi, this is Dave Palmer. If you are a small business owner and you listen regularly and love this station and you often hear the ads for our sponsors on the air, you've perhaps thought before, I should promote my business on this station. I might increase my business, and by doing so, I will also be helping to keep this station that I love on the air and help spread the gospel message across the airwaves here in North Texas. If this thought has crossed your mind, please contact me and let's talk about sponsorship. Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.
Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
And welcome, one and all, to this edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network's social media sites. Glad to have you with us. We got the whole team here. I'll introduce them in just a moment. This is a show, in case you're new, where we talk about the teachings of St. Thomas Aquinas in his famous Summa Theologia. And boy, do we have a whopper of a topic today. I've kind of hesitated in introducing this topic because it's pretty controversial. A lot of people think that St. Thomas Aquinas is wrong in the way in what he teaches, but it's basically his teachings on the treatment of heretics and unbelievers, and whether he said that they ought to be put to death. And it's a little more complicated than a yes/no answer, and it's nuanced, but we'll be talking about that. And also why, if St. Thomas Aquinas did endorse putting heretics to death, what would have motivated him to do that? So that's the topic today, kind of a light topic on a fun Friday, but let me introduce the wonderful cast of characters here on this show, starting off with Sissel Anderson, who is not wearing a yarmulke. Okay, let me just make that
yarmulke. I feel like I don't even know how visible it is on the camera because I have pretty dark hair. But yes, I am not wearing a yarmulke. It is like a 1950s little, I don't know what you call this. I was trying to look this up. Like, what on earth do you call this?
You never have names for any of your hats.
Listen, hat history is complicated. And no one's gifted me a book about the history of women's hats. So I'm really
be like 2 minutes.
When's your birthday?
2 minutes of
May
research.
29th.
That's all it would take, Sissel. 2 minutes of research before the show.
Dave, I looked up and I found an article that had like 200 hats that looked only minutely different, so I don't know which one this is considered.
There's like 200 different kinds of hats? Yeah.
It's scary.
And it's interesting that, because Jonathan put that on as I came in the studio and he said, "Hey, Dave, shalom." And, he was joking about the yarmulke. But St. Thomas Aquinas' treatments on unbelievers, which of course would include the Jews, and of course, this is 13th century, and he did not believe that Jews. I'll give you a little hint. He did not believe that Jews or pagans or that would be put to death as heretics because. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll explain that. But
Happy Easter, by the way.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, as we talk about this light topic today. This is Jonathan von Weber-Hansberg.
Hello.
And he has some very exciting news to share with us.
I do. I was just accepted today into the University of Dallas.
Whoop,
All right, happened today.
Of course, it was very providential. It happened here.
Yeah.
In the studios.
I was just talking with Sissel about how I was hoping to hear back from them soon, and then I checked my email right after that, and then I got the email.
So they do it via email.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so.
Did it come from the admissions office,
admissions
from Dr.
office.
Sanford, or what?
You got a personal phone call.
Okay. Okay. And then did you press A to accept? I mean, do you accept right then, or I'm sure you called your parent?
You have to pay the money to accept it.
Yeah. Jonathan's like, yes, check that box.
A, I accept. B, I do not accept. C, but that's pretty exciting.
The most exciting part of it is that we were thinking we might lose Jonathan, to Steubenville. He'd be gone far away.
Yeah.
But since he's not going to be too far from the station, that means he might still be able to help out and have fun.
I'll be about 5 minutes away.
Are you committed to helping out, even though school?
I've already started looking at class schedules for him to plan around.
Send up my class schedule for me.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be ironic if they had this great philosophy class? The teachings of Aristotle and Aquinas. Fridays at 2:00.
I think what you should just say, can I clip out of that? Because I already am taking a class.
I'm taking back to the Father.
From a master's student from UD. So I think it would count.
You could say, I could teach that. Tell that to your philosophy teachers. Sure. Yeah, I could teach that. I've been a co-host on Back to the Father for the last year. All right, and not to be forgotten, Diane Xavier's on the other side of the glass. She's our producer, and you see her when Jonathan moves over. Otherwise, he eclipses her.
My large
Happy
head.
Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter to you, Diane. Good to have you with us. Okay, let me get my
have you with you.
With you. With you. And if you want to talk to Diane and get on the show today, we'd love to have you on. It's been a while since we had a call, but it's nice to hear your voice if you want to. This is a big topic. I'm sure everybody, it's kind of hard not to have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of ambivalent about that, the killing of heretics. 877-757-9424, 877-757-9424. And I will say, just as a disclaimer, in case anybody has any, like, what are they talking about? The way what Thomas is going to espouse in this teaching is not the current teaching of the Catholic Church. Okay, and Thomas
would behoove you to know that.
Yeah, it would behoove. Yes, and Thomas was never a pope. He's not inerrant. So his writings are up for discussion, debate, disagreement. I mean, obviously, some of the things he teaches in the Summa is Catholic doctrine. He teaches that there's a Trinity. You can't say, "Oh, well, I don't believe that. That's just Aquinas," right?
That's just Aquinas.
So, anyways, interesting topic, and we'll get to it here in a moment. Any other news?
Well, I mean, honestly, I can't beat being accepted into a university. I'm trying to think if I've done anything accomplishing this week.
Yeah, made a nice casserole last night or something.
I found a golf ball outside.
You did what?
I found a golf ball outside.
Yeah, that's still not quite as exciting.
You don't have to top. You don't have to top the university. I rolled down a hill yesterday behind my church. My church is on top of a beautiful hill, and I rolled down it.
That's all you got.
That is all I got. I think I proved myself as one of the coolest member of our college young adult group.
Yeah.
As being one of the few people who actually rolled down the hill.
Yeah. But we always had to be prepared for that question when somebody's like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" You get that. How's it going? I mean, that's just like, whoa.
I don't know.
Well, it's why, sometimes when I have a discipleship group, in that group, we usually do highs and lows just so we can be more specific. Because, you're like, how was your week? It was either just bad or it was okay.
Yeah.
And, so you got to be very specific. So my high would have been rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
So my low would have been getting ant bug bites on my feet from rolling down the hill.
Yeah. So the high and the low were kind of
double-edged sword.
Right. Okay. Well, let's jump right into this, and let me a couple of points just to kind of define terms here. A heretic is somebody who has rejected a key teaching of the Catholic faith. Now, if they do it, privately, or they're having doubts, then that would be material heresy, right? If I again, I'm just making this up, but if I kind of have doubts, I'm not sure if I believe that Jesus was both God and man. Okay, that's material heresy. Formal heresy is when I officially declare it and I try to convince others of it as well. Then you're formally a heretic. You're not keeping it to yourself.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So can schismatics be counted? I mean, I know I have an Orthodox friend who I think might be listening to the show, and I don't mean this as an insult, but I'm just genuinely curious. Would schismatics count as heretics? Because a lot of times they reject a teaching of the church.
Well, I think if they reject a teaching of the church, then by definition they'd be a heretic, right? And of course, there's different levels of teaching. If you something like, I don't really believe that I have to abstain from meat on Fridays. Of course, that is a discipline of the church. I think, some people, it's funny, speaking of that, today's a Friday. It's a Friday, but it's also in the octave of Easter.
So
there's been so much debate on Twitter about
what do you do? That? Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about people, because I've kind of wondered that too, because it's supposed to be a time of feasting and celebrating for 8 days straight. So I did kind of wonder this morning when I was planning out my day and what I was going to be eating. I was like, can I eat meat? I mean, you don't have to abstain from meat the rest of the year. You do have to usually offer up some sort of sacrifice. But I'm like, but do you do that on an Easter Friday?
Yeah. No, I had bacon this morning. I enjoyed it. Adrian, Fonseca posted on Twitter and said, "Are you going to eat meat today? And if so, why?" And I said yes, because it's a solemnity and it tastes really good.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Those are my reasons. In order.
I think that's a pretty legitimate reason, Dave.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I have a question about when you were mentioning material heresy. Is that what you call it? Yeah. So for something like that, if someone's just having doubts within themselves and stuff like that, would that be considered a sin, or is that just something that they need to work through? You know what I mean? Does that?
Yeah, right. If it's, I think there's different gradations. Like if I'm questioning
or just struggling
the church's
in faith,
teaching on, whatever the divinity of Christ, and I'm having an honest, conversation with myself. I'm praying through it, and I don't quite, believe that teaching. I think that's an honest, trying to figure it out, and maybe you go talk to a priest and you say, I don't know if I believe this and all that. I don't think that's to the degree of sin. But then the moment you say, I think what I believe is more important than what the church teaches and what Jesus Christ has handed down through, the apostles, then it becomes a sin. And then when it becomes public and formal heresy, then that's bad. Now, if you get to the point where you're like, I totally just absolutely no longer want to be a Christian. I'm done. I don't believe in being a Christian any longer. Then that's apostasy. Okay, and that's not. You're not talking about one or two
There's
doctrines.
just an overall abandoning of it
you're
all.
just abandoning it altogether. Apostasy is I guess worse than heresy, right? And then schism. I think schism by its very definition, I think, would be heretical, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Good start to the conversation. And thanks everybody for joining us. Do comment on the social media sites. We are on Twitter. We're on Facebook, 2 different YouTube channels. And Sissel will try to keep track of all of them and let us know when you do comment. All right. So that's that. And like I said, this it's a complicated kind of story, and but it continues to be in the news today. I went on, every day I go to Fox, CNN, USA Today, all these different websites. On the USA Today front page, there were no fewer than 3 or maybe 4 stories about the death penalty.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's always in the news. Death penalties cases have been going down. The public opinion on the death penalty has been going down. That not as many people believe that's the right. Clearly, the most recent popes have been more opposed to it than previous popes have been, and but it continues. But it's funny. It's not funny. That's probably not the right word, but the reasons people always put up in our culture for death penalty are always very much at the temporal level. It's murder, it's whatever, rape or terrorism or killing a police officer. All horrible things, of course. But the question of like death penalty for spiritual sin or like abandoning the faith, it's not even a conversation anymore.
Yeah,
it's not even something that anybody's even talking about, right? But Aquinas did talk about it, so let me.
As he often does.
Yes,
talks about things.
Yeah, he was funny that way. So, anyways, okay. Here's if you're keeping track of here's Aquinas. If you want to know, I wonder what he really looked like. You ever wonder? It's weird. People.
Besides the paintings, yeah.
He should have had a beard. He would have been so cool if he had a beard.
Yeah, big
Not
long,
that he's not cool now.
Big, long, like CFR beard.
Oh, yeah.
That would be more fitting in with like the philosopher trend that we've come up with, like the type, the character archetype.
Back then, though, I don't think it was that way.
Probably not.
But beards.
He was going through the bareface phase of philosophy.
Yeah, bareface phase.
Bareface philosophy.
So, all right.
New show.
This next slide I put up there because when it comes to like the Catholic Church's teaching on crusades or Inquisition or treatment of heretics. You got the picture in the middle there. That's actually Cranmer, the old Archbishop of Canterbury. He was burned. He was burned to the stake. And, the warrior, actually the one on the right almost looks like Jonathan a couple times during Back to the Father. That's how he came in looking. And then the hooded monk and, the execution of it's always from a very, almost like the church is cruel. The church is mean. It has no tolerance for anybody like that. But I think in what I will see in talking about Aquinas's opinion on this, and I don't think we do this enough today, is he really had a very much of a concern for whether people are going to go to heaven or hell. And I don't think in our culture today, individually, some people may be very, very concerned about this, and we might think, gosh, I don't want to go to hell, but it's not out there. It's not, when somebody dies, you hardly ever hear much of a conversation other than maybe an occasional, I hope he burns in hell, or, like that.
Right.
Or, he's
or
now
like they're looking down
place.
for, a better place. They're looking down on you and that kind of thing.
Yeah. But as far as like a real serious, like, I love my kids and I will do anything. I will die for them not going to hell. Nowadays it's like I want to protect their lives. I don't want them to get in a car accident. I don't want them to get injured or, I want them to get good grades. It's all temporal.
Well, I feel like part of that is just the fact that Christians have just gotten so soft, and the idea that we focus more on the infinite mercy and love of God as opposed to the infinite justice. So it's like, a lot of Protestants just seem to think, everybody goes to heven as long as you just
accept
good,
Jesus
accept
and
Jesus
it's all good.
and
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we're in Divine Mercy Week.
Yeah.
And I will agree, I did an interview with a gentleman the other day, Dr. Brian Thatcher, who's like one of the leading gentlemen who travels the world and speaks about Divine Mercy. And divine mercy is extremely important, but I think we ought to have like a divine justice.
Oh,
week.
yeah. Let's start that.
Divine Justice Week.
No,
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah,
And what do we do? Is
divine
that we cast out all the
justice.
heretics or something?
That's
Yeah.
when you read all of like the fiery Bible verses. I do that every now and then just to kind of, remind myself that,
But you're right. It's unbalanced.
It is,
I mean, because
definitely.
God is justice, God is mercy, God is love, and they're all compatible with each other. But so I guess in leading into this conversation about Aquinas, I think he and probably in that age more so than in our age had a real concern for where are people going to end up, and I think that's what drove him to the opinions that he came to. And I'm not saying, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not saying we need to start, burning heretics at the stake. I'm just saying that, a little bit of a understanding. Like if you're disputing somebody about abortion and you don't understand why they're pro-abortion, you're never gonna understand. You got to understand the motivations, right? And so I think that's key. So let me move on. And by the way, if you're watching at home, we've got some great trivia coming up later on in the show. I need a little extra time for mine. Mine's a little more complicated.
I don't have any.
Well, there's some of your time.
I should have told you this before, but it's going to require you guys writing something down. Do you each have?
We will
pen
have to. One of us will run and go get something.
Diane's going to have to go get everybody each of them a pen and paper.
I automatically assumed it was going to be the intern.
Oh, yeah. Actually, what are we saying? I mean, I guess we're giving you a day because you got into UD. But
yeah.
By the way, Victor on YouTube said, doubting truths of the faith and not understanding them is not the same thing, which is true. That is very true.
Right.
I think the idea of a heresy, you have to fully understand something to then turn against it and reject it. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody who's never been taught the faith,
or he just misunderstood how a particular teaching was presented. If you've been taught wrong, then that's not.
Although Aquinas would say that
you have
to believe in that there is a God is natural. It's not supernatural. It's not something that you need. So there's really no excuse for atheism. I mean, like a person can't say, "Oh, I never was taught that there's a God." There's really no excuse for that because we can come to that conclusion through our natural knowledge, according to Aquinas, anyways. All right, so let's a few articles here. There's not a whole lot, and here's another picture of heaven, by the way. Wouldn't you just like to be there? Do you see that picture of the angels?
Oh, that'd be nice.
And Thomas says in heaven we can kind of move around just by our will, and you kind of float around.
Teleporting around. I'm just gonna teleport after you a bunch when we're in heaven, just to annoy you.
But Dave would you be able to be annoyed in heaven though?
No,
Exactly.
because there's no negative emotion.
Exactly.
It'd be fun then.
So I would just be like, "Oh, Jonathan, thank you for flying around
Thank you
me.
for poking behind my shoulder all the time."
I think you're wasting your time, but it's not bothering me because I'm in heaven. I was like, there's probably better places. Wouldn't you just somebody else you'd like to talk to?
Besides Dave.
Go see.
Dave, I think that should be flattery that he wants to hang around
it's like,
you.
There's Augustine over there, and Jerome, and Pope John Paul II.
Well, to be fair, you probably are going to be following St. Thomas Aquinas around. So John
you're just kind of on
I'll be wherever you are because I'm following Aquinas.
Well, I want to find Jesus first.
Yeah, that's true.
And then
I'm sure
Aquinas.
Aquinas is going to be near Jesus. It's just a never-ending chain.
There's a circle going around.
Yeah, like a conga line or something. Like everybody just, with Jesus at the front.
Conversation got a little derailed.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. No,
Let's get back to the Father.
Okay, so here is we're kind of leading into this, if we're going to understand this, is, and we've talked about this before, what is the greatest sin? Okay, and I think it's important to understand this if we're going to understand why Thomas taught the way he did, is that he believed, and I think it makes a lot of sense, that the greatest of all sins, the worst of all sins, would be the three sins that are contrary to the theological virtues. So unbelief, despair, and hatred of God. Okay, that's worse than genocide. It's worse than abortion. It's worse than racism. It's worse than rape or murder or, you fill in the blank. Anything that happens here below, flying planes into buildings, which is horrible. I mean, all these things are horrible, but Thomas would say to not believe in God is worse than that. And that's not something that we typically hear. Yeah, okay, so that's a difference. Right away, Thomas is saying the very, very worst thing you could possibly do is not believe in God, or despair of God, of your hope of gaining to heaven, or hating God. So those are the very worst. So if you get into that mindset, it might make more sense what Thomas is going to teach, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next parts, he says, whether one ought to dispute with unbelievers in public. And, if you're sitting at home and you want to read this, you can. But I'll kind of summarize it.
Big one.
Pause the video.
Yeah, there's, because if you're watching the recording of this, then you just pause it and, open up a can of beer and just say, okay, let me see what he has to say here.
You need beer to be able to read the Summas.
Yeah. No, sitting in, I know you're not of age yet, so I'm not talking to you. I'm going to talk to Sissel because she's of age, because I'm not going to be like Socrates corrupting the youth, because that didn't end so well with him, But no, okay. But yeah, anyways, just sitting at night, and if you're an adult and you just drink an adult beverage and read some Summa.
Or some chocolate milk for Jonathan.
Yeah.
Hey, I would also drink chocolate milk.
Or just warm milk.
There you go.
Warm
Apple
milk.
juice.
All right. So basically, what he's going to say here is, if do you dispute with unbelievers in public? And he said, yeah, under some circumstances. Okay, it depends.
Okay, interesting.
All right. So if the person is he makes a distinction between somebody who, let me just read part of this. In disputing about the faith, two things must be observed: one on the part of the disputant, and the other on the part of the hearers. Okay, so he actually is concerned about everybody involved in this. On the part of the hearers, we must consider whether those who hear the disputation are instructed and firm in the faith, or simple and wavering. So if I got into a debate with somebody, and I have one of my children present, and I think, and let's say they know their side probably better than I know my side. I probably don't want my child to be there, because they might say, wow, that guy made a really good point. You know? And so you have to, but if, Tim Staples or Jimmy Aiken were there, or Trent Horn, or Jonathan
or if it's like a subject that
Hansberg,
you are very well versed in.
Yeah, so you have to take it into consideration. What impact is it going to have? And it's really interesting also is that he says, okay, but what about the simple-minded people? Okay, if they don't know their faith.
My people.
Your peeps?
My peeps.
He said,
this is for me.
This is so interesting. He said, look down like the third block of red. He says, as in those countries where there are not unbelievers. Is there such a country today? He's saying in those countries.
Well, what countries is he thinking of? What countries?
Brazil?
Poland would
Mexico.
probably be one of the more.
I know, but no unbelievers? I mean, in the whole country?
That's some Sodom and Gomorrah stuff there.
Yeah, he said, okay, in the first case, it is necessary to dispute in public about the faith, provided there be those who are equal and adapted to the task of confuting errors. Okay, and this is why, this is should be a promotion for Catholic radio. Because if you're going to get into disputes about the faith, you better know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't, say, you bow out and say, I don't really know what I'm talking about here. I need to, go check it out and come back and get back to you, right?
And that's a perfectly acceptable thing, by the way, is to say, listen, there is an answer to your question. I just don't know it. I'll look it up and come back. Or ask someone.
You've got the formula down
exactly. Oh, yeah, 100%. That's a very acceptable thing to do, and is smart to do in a lot of these circumstances, like kind of Thomas Aquinas is saying there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says, on the other hand, in the second case, it is dangerous to dispute in public about the faith in the presence of simple-minded people whose faith for their very reason is more, whose faith for this very reason is more firm, that they have never heard anything differing from what they may believe. So he's saying if these people live in this country where there are no unbelievers, they are in a really good place, because everybody is towing the line. And why even, let's just say some guy comes into a country and he wants to dispute with you about the teaching of the church, and everybody's a believer. Thomas is saying, what's the point? Why would you do this in public when everybody,
if you're if you're in a setting where you're clearly outnumbered, or is that what you're saying?
Well, no, just the opposite. If in that country he's talking about where everybody believes, okay, and then somebody wants to, I don't know where the unbeliever is coming in, because, but let's just say somebody comes in from another country or whatever, and they want to debate with you. Well, if all these people are already in a good place and they already believe, what's the point in disputing in public? Because it could only harm them, right? Because they're already believers. It's if you have kids that are all, very, very much believing the faith, do you want to introduce them? Hey, let me tell you what Friedrich Nietzsche taught. He was an atheist. How's that going to help them, right?
Gotcha.
Okay, so anyways, hopefully this is making sense. And I don't know if there's any other comments out in social media land, but thanks again for being here. Okay, so we move on now to it gets more interesting as we go along. Okay, should unbelievers be compelled to the faith? Okay, so if you come across an unbeliever, and this is interesting, he says, among unbelievers, there are some who have never received the faith, such as the heathens and the Jews. And these are by no means to be compelled to the faith. Okay, that's why I said at the beginning of the show. If you come across a Jew, they've never believed the Christian faith, a heathen, he says you cannot compel them in order that they may believe, because to believe depends on the will. Nevertheless, they should be compelled by the faithful if it be possible to do so that they do not hinder the faith by their blasphemies or by their evil persuasions or even by their open persecutions. So even though he said if somebody like a heathen or a Jew were to not believe in Christ, you don't have to compel them to believe, but if they're spreading errors and corrupting other people, well, then you'd have to stop them somehow. Okay, but you're not trying to necessarily make them Christian, but you're trying to stop them
from
exactly, damage control. Yeah, perfect. He says, it is for this reason that Christ's faithful often wage war with unbelievers, not indeed for the purpose of forcing them to believe, but because even if they were to conquer them and take them prisoners, they should still leave them free to believe if they will, but in order to prevent them from hindering the faith of Christ. So I think this is a pretty moderate, kind of stand. I mean, he's not saying that all the unbelievers have to believe in Christ. He's saying leave them alone, but just don't let them harm the ones who already believe.
Yeah.
Seems like it makes sense.
Legitimate, yeah.
Fair.
On the other hand, there are unbelievers who at some time have accepted the faith and professed it, such as heretics and all apostates. Such should be submitted even to bodily compulsion, that they may fulfill what they have promised and hold what they at one time received. Now Aquinas is getting serious. Now he's saying, so if Jonathan were to come in one day and say, Cecil, Dave, I just no longer believe that teaching on the incarnation.
Why am I the example?
Then I'd have to get you like in a full Nelson or something, like bodily compulsion.
Yeah, you have my permission to do that, by the way.
Okay.
Wow.
Sure.
Not that I ever hope that this happens, but also...
Radio executive director puts young intern into a full and body slams him,
in order to bring him back to the faith.
Yeah, right. With St. Thomas Aquinas' permission.
That's one way for us to go viral.
Yeah. You have recorded evidence of me giving you permission for that. So
this is true.
Please do it.
Yeah, we always talk about all these ways to make this show go viral. Having St. Thomas Aquinas on, having the alien in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be. And then, me.
I just like to say, booking these people is really tough.
I know. They never show up.
I know.
They never show up.
But who did show up is our friend Buddy. He joined in the chat. He says, sorry he's late, but he's here now.
All right, that's Buddy. Good. We got a good topic for you, Buddy. You came back in a good week. All right, so that's that. Any comments on that? Compulsion of the faith?
Don't think so.
And again, I mean, I think where he's coming from is, in our hypothetical situation. I'll use Diane as an example this time, okay? Diane comes in and says, because we know Diane is a believer, and all of a sudden she says, I no longer really believe in that teaching about heaven and hell. And so, being a gentleman, I would ask Sissel to put her in the headlock, and just say, maybe noogies or something, and just say, hey, no, you've got to believe this, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know how.
By the way, Buddy says that would be better than a Mike Tyson hit.
Yeah, boy.
What about a Will Smith slap?
Talking about the news of the week. Yeah, Mike Tyson opened up on a guy on a flight yesterday.
Oh, he did? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, but the guy was harassing him and all that. So, Mike Tyson. Okay, so there's that. And then we get to the biggie. Okay, next slide, whether heretics ought to be tolerated. Now, I'm going to read this. He said, with regard to heretics, 2 more points must be observed, one on their own side, the other on the side of the church. On their own side, there is the sin, whereby they deserve not only to be separated from the church by excommunication, but also to be severed from the world by death. Okay, so the short answer of is does Thomas Aquinas, did he teach that heretics could be put to death? The short answer is yes. Okay, he did. He said, now listen to this. This is an interesting explanation. He says, for it is a much graver matter to corrupt the faith, which quickens the soul, than to forge money, which supports temporal life. Wherefore, if forgers of money and other evildoers are forthwith condemned to death by the secular authority, much more reason is there for heretics, as soon as they are convicted of heresy, to be not only excommunicated, but even put to death. So back then, people were being put to death for a lot of things. I mean, if you forge money, you're not going to be put to death today, right?
Right. No.
Okay, so you got to assume if they're putting forgers to death, they're putting murderers to death, they're putting rapists to death, they're probably putting, robbers to death. I mean, there was a low bar for the death penalty. And so Aquinas is saying, well, by golly, if forgers are being put to death in our culture, what about the people who are leading people astray and putting souls in peril?
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem, since you're pretty much condemning a lot of other people to death for lesser matters?
I actually kind of came to that reasoning myself a few years ago when I didn't read in Aquinas, but when it was around the time I started reading him. I was starting to wonder, like, well, shouldn't we be punishing, those who are spreading like grave falsehoods about the faith more than we would, someone who would murder someone?
Yeah.
Because it's a far, far worse crime.
Yeah. But then again, like the big issue today is censorship. Like Twitter knocked off Babylon Bee, they knocked off President Trump, and I think most conservative people think, you should be able to say whatever you want, right? I mean, you have a freedom of expression. Aquinas, I don't think would believe that. He believe if you go on Twitter and say, Jesus Christ never became incarnate, or like that. That's an opinion, but he would say no. That's dangerous because people would say, oh really? Let me hear more.
Well, I mean, it's illegal to go up and say like, oh, we're gonna shoot the president or something like that. That making threats like that is dangerous, and you probably be detained and interrogated if you did it in a public setting. So I think it's kind of similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but or the famous case from the Supreme Court case where you can't shout fire in a crowded movie house. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's, because it disturbs the public too much. But if you can't cry fire in a crowded movie house because it's going to, upset people, can you cry out heresy in a public setting?
Heresy.
Yeah, just the word heresy.
Just the mere word of heresy. So I don't know. I think I guess the bottom line is times have changed, and we're in a very, to your point, Jonathan, at the beginning of the show, we're in a very different age, an age of tolerance, an age of free speech, an age of pluralism, an age where I'm okay, you're okay. Let everybody kind of figure it out themselves. That ain't the age that Aquinas lived in.
Exactly. Yeah.
But which one's right? I don't know.
I'd prefer to live at his age.
I have the answer now. I'm talking.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. Let me see if I have this thought fully formulated. But last night at my young adult group, we were talking about, because we're in the Easter season, and about living joyfully and stuff like that. But we're talking about how I think it was a video from Bishop Barron. He's talking about that Catholics and how we live differently is because, and how like world leaders are kind of like get freaked out by early on, like, Christians after Jesus, were martyred because they're not afraid of death, and that's terrifying. And it's kind of like that idea of living more for the after this life sort of point of view. And so if we were, putting people who are causing heresies, because that's more having to do with the long term and not just, because obviously you steal today, you burn down a house, whatever crime you may commit, that has more like just affects. Maybe we deal only with what's happening here on this earth and not so much. So it's kind of a foreign idea these days to talk about, but we're really concerned about what happens after.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a post-Christian society.
Right.
It's a post-religious society.
And when you think about it, I mean, Christians believe in a heaven and a hell, but it's just like we believe in it, but we don't really direct our lives towards it, because our lives are this little blip in eternity.
Yeah.
And think about it. I mean, if hell, there's a lot of different opinions about what hell. Thomas taught that hell was literally fire.
Yeah.
I've read articles where even Jimmy Akin said, "No, I don't think so. It's not like literally, on fire forever." But whatever it is, it's horrible. It's absence of God, and it's also a knowledge that you're not with God, and people that you love are with God, and that alone would be torture. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, like your siblings or your parents are in heaven, and you're with God, and you're in another place, and you just and there's that would be horrible,
right?
And so you got this little period of 60, 70, 80, maybe 90 years to live this life, and it's pretty much what everybody puts all their eggs in this little basket, rather than thinking about the ramifications for eternity, right? There's one more paragraph, and I think this is actually quite merciful on Aquinas' part. He says, on the part of the church, however, there is mercy which looks to the conversion of the wanderer. Wherefore she condemns not at once, but after the first and second admonition, as the apostle directs. But after that, if he is yet stubborn, the church, no longer hoping for his conversion, looks to the salvation of others by excommunicating him and separating him from the church, and furthermore delivers him to the secular tribunal to be exterminated therefore by the world by death. For Jerome, commenting on Galatians 5, says, a little leaven, it says, cut off the decayed flesh, expel the mangy sheep from the fold, lest the whole house, the whole pace, the whole body, the whole flock burn, perish, rot, die.
So it's not like as soon as you utter a heresy, you're being sniped out of the
Right,
existence.
right.
Yeah, it's
there's
like
not like snipers on top of it.
it's just like waiting for you to mess up or just like start thinking, like just express.
We've been watching you for a
long
time.
time. And we hear either where your thoughts are going. Yeah,
so there's a warning.
Because the idea would be ultimately, because the idea would be not to immediately to kill that person, because the hope would be that to bring them back.
But if it's hopeless, or at least it seems like it's.
So if the person is just absolutely obstinate, I should say, then Aquinas would say that person could be put to death, be excommunicated. But notice the church doesn't do the execution; they hand him over to the secular tribunal, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then he says, Arius was but one spark in Alexandria, but as that spark was not at once put out, the whole earth was laid waste by its flame. Okay, so
like Hitler.
And
Hitler was a spark.
Yeah. But then there's also that thing about what if we could have aborted Hitler when he was in his mother's womb?
Yeah,
and
that's not immoral.
Can't do that.
Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Hang on, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back.
So anyways, just to reiterate, speaking for myself, and I think everybody here, we follow the church. The church is not killing heretics right now. They're not sending them to try, to secular authorities. And so we follow the teachings of the church, but I wanted to present this in order to better understand why Aquinas, I think if nothing else, his motivation, his intention was for the eternal salvation of not only people who would be affected by the heretic, but also for the heretic himself. Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Before I was Catholic, I went to a Presbyterian church, the Presbyterian Church of America, different than from the PCUSA. It's PCA. Just want to make that clarification for those who understand that. But they had obviously not Catholic, don't follow, the Pope or anything like that, but they did have a church hierarchy.
Yeah.
And I have witnessed an excommunication in that church.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a public excommunication?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was
so
a church.
They brought the person in?
No, the person wasn't gone. They were gone, but
Gone as in
they had left. They were no longer attending that church. But yeah, it was a messy situation, and but they still were trying to they wanted to make it closed off that they could not come back to that church until they had repented of the sins that they had committed. And so it was quite the experience, because it was one of the elders in the church that came up in front of the whole church. Now it's a church of 150 people, but just had to come up and just read out this whole thing and just be like, this person has forged.
Did you know the person?
Yeah.
Oh, you knew the person that got excommunicated.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And he was not present.
He was not present. Okay. I think his wife might have been, though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
did she know this was coming?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So she knew her husband was going to excommunicate, and she showed up?
I want to say she was there that day. I can't remember. I was a little bit younger, but yeah.
I think if my wife was getting excommunicated for the church, I maybe choose a different parish that day.
It was really hard. Well, she was no longer with him, is the thing.
Oh,
yeah. It was a very bad situation.
Which may have had something to do with the
excommunication. Yes, might have something to do.
Right?
But it was just an interesting thing, and it's so funny that I've got to see that. So it's an experience, by the way.
I was going to say, if we're looking for a compromise, and I think most reasonable people would understand this. How about more excommunications?
Yeah, definitely.
That would be.
We're not even doing that,
right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty tame in comparison to.
Because he's putting them together. He's saying the person should be excommunicated and put to death. So let's leave the death, off the table, and we're not gonna kill heretics. but at least let's excommunicate some people because then they still are alive. They still have a chance. It sends a message. But
then that's when
the church
people,
isn't even
if they're
doing that these
saying a bunch
days.
of things, then we could be like, but they're not Catholic. They're no longer part of the church. You can't say
There are a lot
they're
of
just like
public figures that are making the church look very bad by.
Yeah,
You
so
can
you
say
see
it.
how far we've come from back then, where it was like, man, they're going medieval on people.
In the Middle Ages.
of all times.
Exactly.
I guess that's the time to go medieval on people during the Middle Ages, right?
I've got a couple of comments from Buddy I'd like to catch us up on.
okay.
First, he said the Catholic Church needs to listen to St. Thomas and the flock would get back in line. And then he also said, talk about heresy. Apparently, Burger King in Spain put a commercial out using the Eucharist in comparison to a burger.
Wow.
Oh,
Which
goodness.
is unfortunate. And
So
then
we
he,
need to execute Burger King.
Yes,
Execute.
Burger
Let's
King.
find him.
No, just the character.
The king,
you know?
exactly.
Character.
Yeah.
And he asked, how does this teaching fall in line with the church's prohibition of the death penalty? If the church does not do anything, heresy spreads like a cancer, like i.e. a transgender movement.
Yeah. So he's obviously, well, he said it. He's sympathetic to Thomas's. So how does this have to do with the church's position on the death penalty? Well, I mean, I think it's kind of apples and oranges because if somebody, rapes somebody or murders somebody, and then you pursue the death penalty, it's on a very temporal level, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's really a whole different story. I mean, you could oppose the death penalty for forgers or murderers, and then say, but since this is such a bigger crime, denying God, or then I'd support that. And I'm just speaking hypothetically.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we show like the bishop just showed up to like the government and just like, here, I'm handing this person over for execution. Because of the way the culture is, like how completely.
Oh yeah.
Everyone would be like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
Because they said what?
Yeah, right.
And that we care why?
And also executions are going down. I mean,
that
they're
too.
going down quite a bit. So even the idea of executing people for temporal matters is falling out of favor, much less. Right, and I should say much more for the more important things. But yeah, I think the first thing is, in my opinion, is more frequent excommunication, and then also a better understanding of the fact that the greatest sins are sins against God.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's just get that into people's mind first, and because it's so
Because it would be
so
such
upside down
a
right now.
to the culture right now. It'd be such a like what
Oh, yeah.
we went
Yeah.
from here to execution. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to get that idea.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
subtle.
I mean,
things.
like using the Lord's name in vain. I mean, take it more seriously. That's
Right.
like
Yeah.
because nowadays the greatest crime you can do, the thing that would knock you off the air if you're a broadcaster, is using
wrong
the
pronouns.
wrongs. Yeah, or just saying, and some of these are crude expressions, but saying things that insult human beings.
Right, but
and
that's
you
not
just you
insulting.
can't do that stuff now.
Yeah.
But blaspheme God. I mean, no big deal. Your paycheck will be in the mail. No problem.
I will say this is kind of right, random side tangent, but when we were talking about that, taking the Lord's name in vain, there is a song that I've heard on when I was on the radio, and it has the D word in it, right? But it has God in front of it.
Yeah.
But they silenced God and left the
And just
which I thought was
just like,
interesting, and then
yeah.
just the D word.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting because I was
heard
kind of like, huh. So to an extent, they realized that the worst part of that was adding the God into it, which I thought was kind of a positive. I would prefer that the word not be in it at all, but like.
But there's only one person that can do that, anyways. I mean, only one. The word.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would rather not have the word at all. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in that circumstance, at least there was this idea. Like I don't know what the thinking was behind that, but you're like
the other thing.
interesting.
Euphemisms. I say all the time, like gosh, or
It's hard.
Oh,
Those are
oh
hard.
my goodness,
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
I mean, even euphemisms. But if you took those out, boy, we'd be in trouble.
That's the thing is that you can also get like too. I remember because like you can bring a Protestant. Sometimes it was a little bit too strict. I remember I would say, "Oh my stars." Was like my go-to, and then some people were like, "Oh, that's technically, they try to read into that was too." I was like, "Okay."
It's like astrological or something.
I was like, "Well," and that's why I say things like, "Well, snickerdoodle and crumpets." Like I just went to food.
And that sounds kind of I don't know, kind of nerdy.
It does.
Which, but God's not God. You can still get to heaven as a nerd. I mean, not as a heretic.
I mean, St. Thomas got there, right?
Or,
you also have a big piece of paper on your head that says nerd.
Nerd.
It's like people don't know what to say these days. Like good grief. People, what does that mean? Good grief? That's like Charlie
My
Brown.
sister says heavens to Betsy.
Yeah, or the holy cow. I think that's a reference to Hinduism, right?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
A holy cow. I mean, what's a holy cow?
I say holy macaroni.
Holy. I don't know. I don't know what. That's a reference to Chef Boyardee or something.
I'm very creative in my expressions,
well,
guys.
Thanks, Buddy and Victor, for your comments.
Do I need to go get
appreciate it.
paper?
Diane did not bring paper.
I'll
in.
grab it.
I am so
Get
shocked.
me
So
some too.
yeah, so we're gonna move into the next phase of the program a little bit early because mine's. You got the opener.
It's time for that time of the show where we give Dave trivia and he gives it right back.
All right, very good. All right, very good. All right, very good.
Yes.
He gives Dave something summa to talk about, and then he gives it right back. Something like that,
I was
right?
caught off guard there. I'm sorry. That was not my
Okay,
best.
that's all right. He tried to pull the
Steal my thing?
yeah,
Did
he
he
tried to
steal
do
my
the
moment?
the Sissel thing. And every time every time that music plays, I think of Bill Kula because he's the one that.
Who's that?
I really hope Bill's not watching.
Yeah,
Wrong
I
headphones.
know. No. Bill's works with the Catholic Foundation, but he's the one that came up with that. Give
Catchphrase.
him Summa to talk
Oh,
about,
okay.
right?
It's kind of a pen sizzle.
Okay.
No.
On.
I'm going to give you a handicap.
Okay. So may I go? I go first this time. Is everybody equipped?
I don't have any trivia.
You don't?
I have
No.
some trivia.
Not
I
at
think,
the moment, but you will.
I think
mean,
my
maybe.
trivia is actually pretty good today. Not
Oh,
going to lie.
really?
Hold on.
Yeah.
I might
All
have
right.
something on my
We'll
phone.
close off with you then, Sissel.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
I want you guys, and if you want to play at home, to write down 10 words.
Okay.
And just
okay.
and don't like worry about spelling. Just do your best.
Good, 'cause I was like,
Okay. These are 10 heresies.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. And so in no particular order. Docetism.
Wait, we have to write these down?
Yeah, write them down. Okay. Docetism. So just do it phonetically. And I don't want to get into spelling. Okay.
All right.
Pelagianism. Okay. Marcionism.
Who names these?
Yeah. Arianism.
It's usually after people's names, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Okay.
Arianism?
Yeah. And Donatism. Okay, there's 5 if you're counting at home. I don't know the ism of this, but just say Catharism.
Cathars. I know that.
Catharism.
Oh, of course, that was on the
Okay.
tongue.
Nestorianism.
Nestorian?
Nestorianism.
This is going the way I think it's going, this is not going to go well.
That's why I'm giving you the answers.
Oh, no.
No, I'm giving you the answers.
He's giving us the answers. Oh, thank God. We're going to
Yeah,
match it up
yeah.
with the heresy?
Yeah,
I actually think I
exactly.
might
Oh,
know
okay, we might be okay.
Free spiritism. That's like the 60s hippies.
I was going to say that.
Free spiritism. Okay, 2 more. Conciliarism.
Oh, gosh.
Did I mention I'm not going to mention spelling?
Or pronunciation, apparently.
Wait, conciliarism?
Conciliarism. It's got like,
what if we
18...
what if you give us a heresy and we just go to ism?
yeah,
That's what I said.
Because
Like-
you're just, you repeat
I'm
it
sorry,
as
did
I
you give
said
the
it.
last one or no?
No, I have not.
Okay.
The last one is Lallardism. Lallardism.
It sounds like Teletubbies.
I am a Lallard. Okay, so I want to know, is anybody at home writing these down? I'd love if one person was playing at home. I mean, just one. I'm not.
I would show you my list to help you, but you don't want to see the spelling of it.
I'm not too
gosh.
ambitious.
Yeah.
Okay, so. All right, so now what I'm going to do, as you can probably expect, is I'm going to very briefly mention a heresy, and then you all have to.
Can we ding in?
Let's see. Well, let's see. How do we do this? I think each of you just kind of pick your answer, and then I'll ask you, and you'll see if
Oh,
you're
you're gonna
right.
ask these
Okay, but
individually,
keep trying.
okay.
It'll get easier.
I just want to make sure we're not doing speed. By the way, Buddy's playing along. He's writing them
Okay,
down.
so and it'll get easier as you go along because some will be eliminated, right?
Okay.
All right.
All right. So here's the first heresy. Let's see. This heresy holds that Jesus, while the Son of God, is neither eternally nor fully divine, as God the Father is?
Easy.
I know
Okay, I started off kind of easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so okay, Jonathan, what do you think it is?
Arianism?
Arianism.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, you guys got one. Okay, so
That was
Sissel
like
and
also
Jonathan.
the one I was most confident about. So we've
I
now
know.
reached the end of mine.
I know a few of these.
I've heard a
okay,
few of them, but I don't know
here-
if I can match it up.
All
We'll see.
right, and Buddy, did you get that one right? Okay.
And also Dottie is playing at home.
Oh, she is. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Next one is okay. It was a 5th century British monk. It was named after. They believed that Christians could earn their way into heaven by doing good deeds without the need of divine grace. Okay, you can earn your way into heaven. Now, just not to make you all feel bad, but I would have known this one. Okay, even if I wasn't the moderator. Okay,
Not to make you feel bad.
no, not to make yourself feel bad. Okay, they earn your way into heaven.
I'm going between two, and I watch as it's a completely third option that I didn't even consider.
Yeah,
But
Well, 5th century.
you can earn. Yeah, earn
He's
your
British,
way.
right? You said.
no,
Yeah, you know those Brits. Okay,
what's
so
the most
okay,
British
so
sounding name?
you got to go first. This time, okay.
Apologies, I mispronounced some of these because
Okay.
my spelling was so bad that I don't know if I
Yeah,
can say it
because-
again
yeah.
properly.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna say going between two. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Okay. Catholic, the Catholic.
Catharism?
Yeah, that
Okay,
one.
that-
That,
okay,
the
Gesundheit,
ism.
by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, and Jonathan, what do you say?
I guess say Lollardism.
Lollardism. Okay, you're both wrong. That is.
Is that
Very good. Pelagianism.
That was the one I was going between. Oh, come on.
Okay, we'll keep track.
And Buddy got that one right.
Oh, okay. Of
I
course,
should have just
yeah,
looked
of
at the
course Buddy
comments
did.
and had
Okay.
Buddy's help.
Yeah. Hey, and Buddy, you got to hold off and just let us know if you got it right.
No.
Because
He's
don't-
usually delayed anyway, so it's not.
Okay, so here we go. In this heresy, believers believe that once people reach a state of spiritual perfection, the laws no longer apply to them.
Oh, I've heard of this. This is
Okay, so once you reach a state of spiritual perfection, laws no longer apply to you.
I'm pretty sure I know this.
Well, you're up first. So
Docetism
okay, you say it's Docetism.
or
and,
Docetism.
Okay, yeah, pronunciation and spelling are not required. So,
Okay, good.
so I know he answered pretty quickly there.
He
Is that a sign that
did.
he's right?
Or he's just like confidently wrong.
I could be confidently wrong.
See, I was actually looking. That was one of the ones I was considering. I was going between that.
Or
Are you thinking free spiritism?
yeah.
I'll go free spiritism because that's what.
Sissel for the win.
Oh
Yes.
man,
All right. It does.
I
okay.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, so as soon as he read out the free spirit bit, I was like, or spirit bit, I was like, that's probably that one. But I'm like, is that two on the nose?
Yeah.
All right. The crowd is going wild. Okay. So let's move on along to the next one. These heretics believed that the human and divine persons of natures of Jesus remained separate. I'm sorry. The human and divine persons of Jesus remained separate. For them, Jesus Christ and Son of God were not the same person. Okay. So Jesus as Jesus Christ and the Son of God were not the same person.
So this sounds like an earlier heresy.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of looking
That
at the
exactly.
ones.
I'm literally thinking the same thing.
So, okay, and let's see. You're up first.
I'm up first
You're
this time.
first.
I'm gonna
Okay. If you're
say-
keeping score at home, Sissel has 2, Jonathan has 1, Buddy has 3. We don't know about the last
two.
one.
He didn't get the last one
Okay.
right.
Oh, he didn't get. Okay.
And he guessed one for this one, but I don't know if it's right or not.
Oh, okay. So.
He's guessing
Yeah, it's kind of
Nestorism.
like having a.
Nestor. That's what he's guessing. That one. The Nestor. Yeah, that one.
The Nestor one.
That's not my guess though yet.
Okay, that's not. So you
I'm
don't
gonna
trust Buddy.
I don't know, because Buddy he's gotten some of them right.
That's true, but don't just go with the flock.
But I feel like we should just like split so that one of us has a chance of getting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go back to my first guess, which was the Catholic.
You're gonna keep saying
I'm gonna,
Catharism
until I get it right.
Remember that one time I did that, and then at the end I still got it wrong.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
So
so
you're gonna say Docetism again?
Okay.
'Cause it sounds. I feel like I remember that being an older heresy.
Okay, that was Nestorianism. So
Buddy's right.
Buddy was right.
We should have trusted
too
Buddy.
good.
I was trust Buddy. Okay?
Buddy currently has 3 points.
Okay, so
we
Buddy has
have
3.
one.
Sissel has.
Yeah, you have 2. I have 1.
All right. Here. Okay, this one says that the physical world was the handiwork of an evil god.
Oh.
You must avoid. Hold on there. You must avoid meat, cheese, and some other foods, as well as refraining from sexual intercourse. Those are the ways to contact with the spiritual world. So the body is bad. The physical world is bad.
Wow.
I know this. I know this.
And this was in southern France in the 12th through 14th centuries.
Oh.
And Sissel is desperately
Kind of
waiting.
sounds like a la thing to me.
waiting. She's desperately waiting for Buddy to answer this.
And Jonathan. I get to wait for both of them.
Okay, wait, hold on. So if the world is, I remember hearing about this.
And there's an interesting connection that I'll mention about this as well. All right. Beep, 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 beep. We don't have all day.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yes, it's your
I'm
turn.
going to say Lillardism because it's French.
Lillardism? Okay. Sissel?
I'm going to go Donatism.
Donatism. You're both wrong. Okay, this is Catharism. This is finally. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Saint Dominic, the founder of the Dominicans, was, and I use this term loosely, hell-bent on converting the Cathars.
I thought it was something else. I thought it was
the heresy that he was concerned about, because they're making this dualism between the body and the spirit.
Yeah, but I thought it was called something else though, not Catharism. I thought it was
well, I don't know. So to Buddy, I'm not sure.
Buddy did not get this one right.
Buddy did not get that one. Okay.
Nope.
All right. So we're down to a few more here.
Okay.
These people believe that church councils hold ultimate authority and even have power to depose the Pope.
I'm doing really bad.
Okay, I'm just at this point we've got 5. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go with the cons. I don't remember.
Conciliarism.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going with Donatism.
Donatism. Sissel is correct.
What?
Okay, this had to do with
knee-jerk reaction.
When they're talking about councils,
councilism,
having ultimate authority.
That must be what my brain was at. I don't know. I didn't think I felt.
Okay, we're down to 4. This heresy was inspired by the teachings of John Wycliffe, a controversial philosopher and theologian in the University of Oxford, rejecting transubstantiation, the powers of the Pope, and many ceremonies of the Church. They advocated for what some have called a premature reformation.
Okay, Lillardism. That's the most modern sounding.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Lillardism too.
You are both correct.
Hey.
All right.
I did actually study Wycliffe when I was Protestant.
All right, so now we're down to our final 3. These heretics declared that baptism and other sacraments administered by so-called traitors, Christians who had repudiated their faith, were invalid.
That's
Donatism.
Maradi is blah blah blah.
Sissel is right. Donatism. Yes.
That was by the way, a complete guess. I have no idea what I'm doing over here.
Okay, so now you're down to so few that
So we have a 50-50 chance now, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're down to just 2 more, right?
Yep.
Docetism and Marcionism, right?
Yep.
Okay, they believed that the vengeful, angry God they found in the Hebrew Bible was an evil tyrant, different from the loving, forgiving God of the New Testament.
Docetism.
No. Man, you said that so confidently.
We both said it very confidently. Because I was like docile. I was thinking
Haven't you heard about Marcion? Marcion, he believed you ought to just discard the Old Testament.
Can I put a lot of money on the next question?
Yeah. Okay. Who's gonna guess first?
Okay.
This is they proposed that the Son of God never took on human flesh,
Oh.
and that the body of Jesus was an illusion.
No, I've heard that. That's
And Jesus never physically died on the cross. Those were the Docetists. Okay, so anyways, I
My
told
root
you it was a
words
little.
failed me.
Imagine if I hadn't given you the answers.
Yeah, we would have been here a long time.
I know.
And it would have been painful for everybody.
All right. So anybody who played at home, what score did you get? Dear Dottie, did you get any of those right? I can just imagine all of America sitting there with their pad of paper.
And they're back to the Father on the TV screen.
Yep.
Yeah, just like.
We're basically the new Jaws.
Jaws?
What? What are you talking about?
What?
Jeopardy is what I meant to
What
say.
the new what?
No, we're Jaws now.
Like sharks in the water?
I don't know if you have all have realized this or not, but it's a very common joke in my family that my mouth and my brain don't always connect properly.
Yeah. So what were you trying to say?
Jeopardy.
No, Jeopardy. Oh, okay. I was like, Jaws? I actually watched Jaws recently.
Oh, yeah, it's a good movie.
I don't know. They both have
okay.
distinctive music. They're both suspenseful.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. There's two ways we could do mine. It's all themed, and the theme is invented by Catholics or not.
Ooh, that's cool.
Oh,
Okay, so we're going to talk about some different inventions.
How many are there?
So I have 6. So what I can either do is I can tell you how many are and aren't. Like there's like this many that of these answers that are made, and then this many that aren't. Or I can just go one by one down the.
Let's just do one.
Yeah, one by
Okay.
one. Yeah.
All right. Are you all ready?
Okay. And
I'm just gonna
do we you can do it like I did it, where we each give
I think
the
we're
answer?
just gonna. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
Is
mean,
that
we
okay?
can or do. Yeah, that sounds good.
Well,
all right.
you're the rule maker.
All right, we'll do it that way. All right, the first one, the piano.
No. Yes. What am I talking about?
I would say definitely yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you're right.
And just for the record, Jonathan was not certain. The piano. I mean, that'd be
Well,
like.
because I instantly thought about Japanese playing the piano.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So
but that's
to be
kinda like where it
fair,
went.
this gentleman, his name is Bartolomeo Cristofori. He took it from the harpsichord.
Sounds very Italian.
It's very, very
Yes.
Italian.
Italy tends to be Catholic. Yeah.
All right, we're ready for the next one.
Ready. I was born ready.
for this exact moment.
Yes.
Chartreuse.
What's that?
Chartreuse. What is
It's an
that?
alcohol. It's a green liquor.
It's a green liquor. When was it made? Can we ask?
Hold on a second. You would ask me follow-up
Yeah.
questions.
Chartreuse. You know, there's also some
It's a-
strategy here where she's probably alternating. Like, I don't want to give all the Catholic ones in a row.
It's
You know.
chartreuse. Is
But
that
you know,
kinda French?
Catholic.
You always try to like psychoanalyze my.
Catholicism and alcohol.
It's French,
good
obviously,
French,
and
yeah.
it's around 1760 in the 1760s.
Well, I mean,
It's
in that,
Catholic.
yeah, it's got to be Catholic. Everybody in France in the 18th century was Catholic. No,
Yes.
but okay,
Ah.
yes,
You're
okay,
good.
of course,
By
yeah,
Carthusian monks.
yeah,
Nice.
of course.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Braille.
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 What's Braille?
Braille is a little things where that blind
That's for
people
bo- that's
read.
how
the
they
little-
read.
the-
Oh,
Oh, Braille.
fonts.
Yeah. Okay.
Haven't you
Braille.
seen like in the elevators?
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
Braille. Yeah, yeah.
That
you know,
seems like something like a Catholic would make.
right,
but
right.
I feel like that would be too many Catholics in a row.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, or else it's reverse psychology because we've already said that she can do any
I don't-
order she
like,
wants.
we don't ever do this with Dave when he's asking questions, but you all are like,
Because you're
how
Yeah,
is
I
this
know.
even thinking?
We're trying.
This is just tired.
I'm
She doesn't have-
gonna go on a limb and say yes because it seems very social justicey, and Catholics always like to help people. So
I'm gonna say no, just because I think that's too many Catholics in a row, and that rhymes.
Dave's right.
yeah, take that.
Louis Braille
Von
invented
Weber
Braille.
Hansberg. Okay, but we also there's got to be one of the no's coming up here very
Exactly.
soon, right?
Or is there? What if there aren't
This is
any
all-
no's?
no,
What if,
Yeah.
I never confirmed or denied.
Yeah, but she was going to give us the breakdown. It would have been kind of odd if she says there's 6 yeses and 0 no's. So,
Or I could have
that-
changed up the rules. Maybe I had 2 different versions of the game.
Yeah.
All right. The television.
That was not Catholic.
Yeah, no way. That has because that's I say no.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Was that,
yeah.
was that Marco?
No,
Oh, wait, no.
Philo T. Farnsworth. I
No,
watched
his
him-
name was Michael Television.
No. What?
Remember the guy from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Like his name was TV.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Mike
Well,
TV.
Yeah, Mike TV.
Yeah.
It wasn't him.
I would just like to say justice for Philo T. Farnsworth. He was the one who filed the patent. He invented it when he was 14 years old. He was a Mormon boy in Utah. And
14?
14. That's the only reason why he won the patent, because his teacher kept. It was a show and tell day. He wrote out a diagram of how the television would work,
Really?
sending signals, and his teacher kept it. So when it came up to like patents were being filed around the same time, he won it because his teacher kept that document from
wow.
years
Yeah.
earlier. But then he was kind of put aside, and no one remembers that he was the one who invented, because other people got more famous from it. So
Until
anyhow,
Back to the Father came
until
along.
Back to the Father.
Until Back
So
to the
justice for
Now.
Philo. All right, spectacles.
Like eyeglasses.
Yes.
Okay, eyeglasses. Yeah, definitely Catholic.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, last
And
one.
just for the record, I'm not missed one yet.
Just for the record.
The last one. Okay, this is the
Okay.
last one. I'm trying to stay perfect.
Rum.
Rum.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
You know,
Why is
Catholics
the
are
rum
more
always here?
known for like alcohol, like beer and wine. I think rum would have been
Where
like
did rum come from again? Was it?
yeah, because like Scotch is from Scotland, and then that wouldn't be Catholic because they're more Protestant.
because rum came from England.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
was it Spain?
I think rum.
Was it?
Let me look it up. 'cause I
I'm
don't
definitely
remember.
going to say no, not Catholic.
Well,
Because
It's actually from the Caribbean, by the way.
Sissel's too smart to have like 5 yeses and only 1 no. So I'm saying
I like that you all think I'm smart enough to do that.
yeah. I'm
No,
saying
I'm gonna say it was Catholic.
I'm saying no.
It was.
not Catholic.
Take that, my Weber Hansberg. All right.
All right.
Well, you know, some of us get 4 out of 6, some of us get 6 out of 6. But
all right.
Can't win them all. Okay, and you do not have trivia.
I unfortunately do not.
Okay.
His trivia today was that he got into the University of Dallas.
To think about it, and you've been sitting in this office for
I was busy.
With Easter celebrations.
Reveling in the fact that, UD accepted me, and you know, I don't need to get trivia.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I understand.
No, I just forgot.
Okay. All right. Forgot. Okay. All right. Diane, Xavier, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for watching the program. God willing, and the creek don't rise. We're going to be back again next week for another edition of Back to the Father. Have a great week.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.